If I asked you what the most overlooked FNaF game was, what would you say? Some might say FNaF 2 or 3. We remember them, but they haven't really had much to do with the story as of late. But the fact that people constantly talk about characters from those games, I don't think they're overlooked. How about FNaF World? That's an RPG that came out at an awkward time and flopped horribly. But still, people talk about it now as this charming little experience. People definitely haven't forgotten about it. I'm talking about a FNaF game with no love, where the most people ever talk about it is whatever random text pops up from time to time. The FNaF game that most people look back on with an eye roll and disappointment. Pokemon FNaF AR Special Delivery. Now, I'll be real, I was definitely part of the hate train at one point. I downloaded, installed, fucked up and got killed by Freddy my first time playing. It was great. And aside from emails here or there, I mostly forgot about it. Hell, this game wasn't even made by Scott Cawthon or Steel Wool. It's made by a company named Illumix, which for the most part seems to have scrubbed FNaF out of their brand completely by now. By all accounts, when these servers go down, that's gonna be the end of it. So I thought it was only fair for me to actually give the game a real shot, figure out what exactly fans of it actually liked, and give my full and honest thoughts on what many consider to be FNaF's worst mobile game. The game starts by introducing itself as a special delivery service, sending animatronics your way at the push of a button. However, the service has been corrupted, the animatronics inexplicably turned evil, and moreover, dreaded microtransactions haunt the app. That last part isn't canon at all, but I mean, geez, these things are everywhere. $12.99 for the Dark Circus. That costs more than most games in the FNaF series, and I guarantee you, there's less content. Maybe. I don't know, I didn't actually buy it. So let's get some mechanics under lock and key. First things first, the workshop. This is where you'll be able to assemble your animatronics and send to other players on your friends list. In concept, this is kinda unique and cool. But in practice, it's very much a case of why? Most of the time what you get from these salvage missions are parts, which you can use to repair animatronics to go out on salvage missions. Do you see the problem here? At least early on in the game, there's no real reason to actually send your precious endos out to do some salvaging, especially since you can get many of the same rewards by simply encountering animatronics normally. The actual interesting part of the workshop to me is with the CPUs, which you can use to swap amongst various animatronics. Essentially, this will allow for the different characters to behave differently. For instance, attaching Freddy's CPU to Bonnie will make Bonnie behave like Freddy and say his voice lines. Speaking of, how about we talk about voice acting? This game is actually pretty dense when it comes to voice acting, with only a couple significant outliers. But hell, even Freddy has a voice, and it's a pretty damn good one. Except, well, he sounds like Darth Vader most of the time.
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough!
I bet you didn't expect me to show up, did you now?
This doesn't detract from the character or the performance, but it's a personal thing with me I can't unhear. Oddly enough, neither Bonnie or Chica have any voice lines, with only Freddy and Foxy being the ones from the first game to speak. Instead, Bonnie and Chica make the groaning and moaning sounds from FNaF 1, the ones that play when they enter your office while the camera is up. I think this makes them two of the scarier characters, but also two of the least exciting. Surely it can't be that hard to give Bonnie a voice. In fact, I did that with Five Nights at Freddy's Cleanup Crew. I just so happened to be voicing Withered Bonnie in that game, so check out the employee assessment teaser if you'd like. Otherwise, almost everyone in this game has a voice, including her. I'd like to move on to gameplay, but first there's this ad in my face. And what better time to talk about this game's absolutely aggressive monetization? This is kinda what the game is most infamous for. There's just so much capitalism. I don't know what a high score Chica lure is, but it sounds like it'd get me arrested if I buy it. Seriously, looking through this shop corner they have feels like a joke. Like seriously, at a point they just stop with the in-game currency and switch to real dollars because it's easier to tell just how much money you're losing that way. And what do you get out of it? Skins for characters that you most likely haven't unlocked yet. More on that in a bit. I seriously can't get over this shop. The worst part is that you can't even buy characters here directly. You can't buy System Error Toy Bonnie and be able to use it right away. No, instead you have to unlock Toy Bonnie, which you can't do through the store. What you can do through the store is buy a mini pack of lures and CPUs for an inordinate number of these dumbass Faz coins, and of course, these are what you buy for money. So for $5 you can get 500 Faz coins, for $10 you can get 1,200, and it goes from there, with theoretically each set of coins giving you a better deal. So let's stick with a conversion rate of 100 Faz coins equals $1. That means Toy Bonnie costs $23, and it gets worse. Springtrap, he's $25, and Toy Chica has the highest price of $42. But calm down. Let's say you bought one of the deals and only bought what you needed in order to get Toy Bonnie. How much are you spending? Still $20, although you would have 300 coins left over. And for Toy Chica, you're still paying $40 at the minimum. But I guess Illumix thought people would be buying a lot of these coins. The highest amount you can buy is 15,000 for 100 USD. Now, this does give you an additional 5,000 FAS coins, but I think at this point it doesn't matter. Do you want to buy groceries for your household or buy Toy Chica 3.5 times? Finally, after emptying my wallet, it's time to actually play the game that's part of this Five Nights at Freddy's game. And this is actually kind of fun. Don't get me wrong, you'll look like an idiot while playing this, constantly spinning around, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy it. So the premise of these levels is that wherever you are, an animatronic has just been sent to you, and begins stalking you. These AR animatronics are equipped with cloaking devices, and they'll stay invisible until they either charge or appear in front of you. If they appear in front of you without charging, look away, but if they begin to charge and decloak, hit them with a controlled shock. The difficulty comes in how not every charge is guaranteed to result in them decloaking, and if they don't decloak, don't zap them. You really have to wait to be sure, which can be hard when an animatronic is charging at you. So how do you know where they'll decloak? This is when sound and sight work together in an honestly really well done way. You'll be able to hear the animatronic move around you, and every time it does, it's either getting closer to you or moving to your left or right. A visual static will usually signify that an animatronic is in front of you, and that's typically where they'll appear from. However, this static strength depends on the animatronic. With a character like Bonnie, it's barely noticeable. This is where the flashlight comes into play. The flashlight will essentially allow you to identify where the static is appearing more clearly. However, it has a limited battery and runs on the same battery as your shock, another reason to not waste your shock power. All in all, this gameplay loop is actually very enjoyable, under the right circumstances. And one of those is environment. Since FNaF's horror is primarily about the setting more so than the animatronics, I'd highly recommend playing this game somewhere that isn't your bedroom or living room. Spook yourself out before turning the game on, and I think you'll just end up having a better time. Also make sure this is an open space. One of the game's biggest hurdles to get over is how the animatronics don't look very real when they come running out of a wall or box. An open space will definitely help with your immersion. Lastly, don't worry about the room being bright or not. This game will automatically make your environment darker. In fact, dark lighting can make the game more difficult as it makes it harder to see the static lines. In my opinion, this sort of control over your environment adds a unique flavor to the gameplay that you can't ever really experience in any other FNaF game. Hold on now, do I actually like this game? In a strange way, I think I do. The gameplay at the end of the day, although repetitive, is fun. The game actually encourages you to do a good job by adding onto your XP count depending on your win streak. That's a really good incentive to perform well, as with higher levels, you can unlock new challenges and characters. But on the flip side of all of that, the game is bogged down with advertisements, practically begging you to just throw money at the game so you can finally get your hands on Foxy's ass for $6.50. It's really conflicting. Okay, surely there's something either super good or super bad about this game that makes me really hate it, or really love it. No, not really. The thing is, this game makes great use of the fact that it is a mobile game, but only really for one section of gameplay. Sure, there's this GPS thing or whatever, but nothing else about it really screams that this game had to be on smartphones for it to work. But hey, I might be the only person on this planet who's actually impressed with how the AR aspect of this AR game is implemented. So how about I talk about something next to no one likes, the redesigns. Pretty much every character in this game has the same texture, that being the super glossy plastic look. This may look fine on the toy animatronics, hell, you can hardly even tell with Toy Bonnie, but for pretty much all of the other characters, it's totally jarring just how shiny they all are. It looks especially wrong on the FNaF 1 cast, who we know to be more fuzzy and furry. But honestly, this is another thing I kinda like. It looks wildly different than we're used to, yes, and I would absolutely hate it if these guys replaced the original designs of the characters, but it's made clear that these aren't the actual animatronics from FNaF 1, 2, 3, etc. They're recreations, meant for celebrating, just like how Help Wanted as a product was meant to poke fun and celebrate. In that way, I think this might just be the FNaF game with the least amount of paranormal activity going on. But then we get to what people definitely know this game for, the skins. Yes, this was Funko's master plan. Have you ever been running away from Circus Baby, but you're also just really hungry for steak? Well, Broiler Baby has you covered. How about constitutional rights for all my American viewers out there? Take your pick, we have Liberty Chica and Firework Freddy. 2 animatronic skins that you don't want to know the voting history of. Still hungry after that steak and patriotism? How about some dessert with Chocolate Bonnie? Or Clown Springtrap, Piranha Plush Trap, Freddy Frostbear, VR Freddy. You get my point. Most of these skins, if not all of them, are ridiculous. I'm sorry, but seeing Firework Freddy honestly makes me think I should have sucked it up and kept making Undertale videos. But here I am seeing Freddy Fazbear celebrating the United States. Serpent Mangle, Magician Mangle. Am I allowed to stop now? Piranha Plush Trap, I really can't let that one go. So this might be the worst part of the game, and it does unfortunately tie right back into that annoying little shop for you to pour your life savings into. It's not like these skins are particularly high value items, all they do is make them look a little different for other people to see. If you could get attacked by your own customized animatronic with a unique CPU and skin, maybe I'd see some worth in it, but you can't. This whole game is like eating a chocolate bar, but the wrapper is made of barbed wire. Sure, there's some good stuff on the inside, but everything surrounding it just reeks. What it comes down to is a few unique animatronic designs that are inoffensive and interesting at their best, a fun gameplay loop when you actually play it, and a mediocre workshop that's not even all that useful to you, more so to others. I really wish I had more nice things to say about this game, but I really don't. But I do think it's not the worst FNaF mobile game. Being real, the ports of all the other FNaF games are all passable at best, straight up inferior versions at worst. But FNaF AR being built from the ground up with mobile gaming in mind makes it, in my opinion, one of the better done FNaF games on mobile devices. I would definitely rather play this game than Help Wanted Mobile or UCN Mobile. And I think that is probably going to be it for what I imagine is the nicest review of FNaF AR ever. And I didn't even get paid to make it. But hey, Illumix, if you ever decide to acknowledge you made a FNaF game again, I'm totally down to make one of those ads like Markiplier did. Let's do it already. Until then, I'm DMuted. Be sure to subscribe and share this video around. That's all out of me. Peace.